Welcome, welcome everyone. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are located, and welcome to our today's session on AWS Solution Architect, their 2020 edition about the exam. So the session is going to be more on to understand about how the new exam is placed and what you really need to know to appear and to crack and to nail down this exam. I recently sat for this exam around 3 days back, and so I planned this session to share my thoughts to my understanding about the exam, what are the changes from the previous version, and how the things are going moving forward, and what are the resources that will be helpful for you to prepare this exam easily. Before even starting with any presentation, let's talk few things like why this exam matters, what is the value proposition, and why, if you are really in the world of AWS, that why you can consider this as a first stepping stone for your long term journey. So we are going to cover on all these things, or I'm going to talk and share my views. And feel free to drop your questions. That is the important part, because there are many questions I'm getting on my social media profiles, and people want to understand. So I believe if you have any question, please drop after the presentation and couple of things which I want to share. I will go through the questions and try to answer one by one. So please feel free to drop. So another thing, you can just post and share the stream with your peers, with your circle. Feel free to tag me as well as use the hashtag LearnCloud with me. So let's get started with our discussion on AWS certification. So AWS is no longer a new buzzword in the market. It is They are a market leader, and they are providing the cloud services and the maturity with the feature richness. So with their exam also, and you can understand from AWS is a benchmark setter that the industry is following. Other cloud providers also started following from their certification pattern, that it's more into the role base. So these kind of changes started happening from last 2 to 3 years, and here we are with the more and more mature, more and more up to date exams also. There are multiple exam level or multiple role based exam, and AWS Solution Architect Associate is one of the favorite and most adoptable exam, whether you are an experienced guy or a new guy, or you are going to just start your journey and you want to just validate your validate your skill. So this exam is perfect for that, for that validation. I have appeared all three editions of this exam. First, even for me, my first AWS exam is this AWS Solution Architect back in 2016 December, and in last year I appeared for this exam because the exam come with the validation or validity of 3 years, and mine was going to expire. So I thought that to recertify, I sat for their V2 or version 2 edition. So it was a bit change from the V1. Even V1 I appeared for 3 4 years back, so I forgot what was that, but I found, because it's my day to day now work, so I found it's bit easy than the other exams. So I was able to easily prepare and clear for that exam. And now they have changed. They announced some period of beta, and last month in the March, I believe 22nd, they release it as a general available, that anyone can sit for the newer edition of or the newer version of this exam. Still the older or V2 is available. They extended, I believe, until end of July. After that, they are going to remove from their catalog, and only this latest edition will be available to take. So understand that why they are changing. It is the most important part, because cloud is something which is moving in a very faster pace. It is not the services which we are using from last 4 years. It is not same. It is getting more and more feature enriched, more and more integration and improvements are happening. So industry is looking for more up to date things, because it is expected that if you are working in a cloud, what will be the most performance with price, or performance versus price kind of solution we can we can build. So all those things need to be considered. So certification is also not there. It is not updating every month or every 6 months. There is some period, let's say 12 to 18 months. So AWS exams are getting updated, and they also want to test it on their newer stack and the newer kind of services. And this exam cover a lot of newer services. So I'm going to talk about on those things in my presentation. But understand there is a lot of thing in this exam, and if you are really looking to prepare for this exam, I suggest no longer it is only about fact and figures that okay, this service is performing this much, or for in which use case or scenario which service will fit best. Now this is more into realistically that how you are going to architect. Again, if you compare it with the any other AWS exam like pro level, especially I would like to highlight here, it is not that 100% pro level, but it is something little bit of more trick and twist in the questions. So let's start with the presentation. I have a couple of slides I will cover, and then we will talk more about the resources as well as the question and answers. Let me share my screen, and let me start with this presentation. Yes, so let's start it with, so this newer version edition, their code name is SAACO2. So make sure, first of all, just try to register for this CO2. Don't go for CO1 or the older, even 2016 one is already removed from their catalog. The previous version is going to be removed from couple of months. So don't go for that, because the content is little bit older and the test was little bit older, but this one is fresh one and covering lot of new services. So keep remember this code SAACO2 if you are preparing, because this is the first stepping stone. I understand there is an exam, practitioner level exam is there, but that is very straightforward, and I always suggest that is for either if you just want to feel the exam pattern, or if your role is different, you are not into the technical role, especially if you, let's say, like a pre-sales or even a sales role, the cloud practitioner exam is perfect. But anyone who is technical, whether you just started your job recently and you are working on AWS, you want to expand your career more into this field, this is the first perfect, I believe, the entry, the entrance to the world of AWS, to build your confidence. Again, it is not that doing exam will give you everything, but it is all about how you can build your confidence step by step. So this is the perfect, I found, a place to start. And there are other, again, there is no prerequisites. There are around 12 to 13 exams available in AWS catalog. Depend a person to person, but I always suggest to start with this one, because this exam is covering a lot of aspects. So let's go to the understand that what all aspects are covering in this exam. So a little bit about this quickly. This exam consists of 65 questions and 130 minutes are allotted, from which 120 minutes are actual for the exam question, and 10 minutes, 5-10 minutes for the surveys and all those things. So you can understand that you are getting less than 2 minutes for each question. Is 65 question and you need to answer all these. You can, there is no negative marking. First of all, this is a common question I am also getting. There is no negative marking, so please try to attempt all those questions, even if you don't know about that technology, or not sure about like what will be the best option for the question. Try to attempt, maybe a guess can make somewhere sense. So 65 question, 130 minutes, and this is what my own opinion that I found, like around 35 question, around 30, not exact number, but I found, like, let's say some kind of weightage I'm trying to put here to give you the glimpse. So this much around was a easy, or I can say the straightforward one, if you already worked on again the services, if you understand that how the purpose of S3 lifecycle will be fulfilled, or where the feature of replication, S3 replication or versioning come into picture. In this category I want to put this 35 or 35 to 40 kind of question, that it will be very straightforward. You will able to quickly understand and judge the answer, right? And another, that 15 is something medium. It is something one thing depend upon the another, and then you need to figure out what will be the best. It can create some kind of confusion, but it is something that you really need to read properly. There is always some trick in the question that you need to extract. And last, I would like to share that rest 15, let's say 15 or 10 to 15 questions will be a bit complex one. There will be 2 to 3 sentences. Again, not too deep technical complexity, but 2 to 3 sentence. That is even, I found that sufficient to confuse with the options, because if you never perform such kind of thing with your own hands on and just reading the things, surely these 15, 10 to 15 question is going to create lot of confusion, and it may lead to the wrong choice or wrong option. So be prepared and make sure that your concepts are clear and you perform your hands on practice before appearing for exam. This exam is testing these four main pillar, because if you heard about well architect frameworks, it consists of 5 different pillars, which is the cost, performance, security, reliability, and operational excellence. Operations is the part of sysops. Sysops is covering because that is more into the people who are managing operations day to day. This exam is covering majorly from the architect thought, that like try to understand the thought process. It is not that until unless you don't know how the things are working well, what are the things you need to really consider, the architecture will not happen. In this exam, operational part is not covered, but realistically I would like to suggest that first try to learn that how the things are operationally work, how the things are connected with each other. If you know those integration key points, then the architect part also come into picture, in which you can cover easily reliability or resilience. Resilience is the most important I found in this exam. The questions or the queries was very much focused on how we can build our application or the infrastructure design more reliable. So keep remember that reliability, security, again, each and every layer security is the most important part of any cloud platform, and AWS is covering this thing in a very well manner. Security is not only about encryption at rest or encryption in transit or SSL TLS, but there are a lot of other things, like from the network point of view, how the encryption will happen, from any storage, what kind of security, like whether the data accessibility, whether it will be the public or all those things. So security cover in multiple ways. Try to understand each and every area, and it will give you the more and more confidence to build the better architecture and to deliver more and more efficient work. Performance is something really it is covering in a very tricky way. I would like to share. I will cover a couple of few tips in our coming slide or in coming minute, but performance is something very important here. It is covering lot of thing. It is not only about a bigger CPU size or RAM or hard disk, but more some kind of, let's say, that the basic or the fundamental of IT here come into picture. That is not specific to AWS, but in the generic, it is a proven methodology and are adopted by the industry. And cost is something which is always a key pillar for any cloud discussion and any cloud topic. So understand from where the cost will fit best, and how your architecture can be cost effective. So these are the four well architect pillar. You can go through each one, have their its own white paper, which may be 30 to 60 pages. Just go through each paper. Maybe if you don't like reading, there are a good an hour or two videos or workshops are there available on AWS channel. Go through that. It will be really helpful to understand before going deep technical. Technical will also require, but I would like to suggest that build your journey step by step. Don't suddenly jump in all those things and put the target that you only want to do the certification but don't want to perform and learn the things. That will lead to something not good for the long term. So try to understand and try to prepare from that perspective. So topics, let me cover the topics part which you will see. First one is storage. Storage is covering, it's not only about a S3 or object storage, but again storage and again storage. I found this exam consists of lot of storage thing, lot of storage queries, lot of storage questions were there. So try to understand storage from multiple aspect, where the object storage will fit, where the block storage will fit, where the file storage will fit, and what kind of services are available, and how that will also work, like how you can architect that service. Maybe if one service can be possibly only work inside AWS VPC, but it can't be extended to on premises or something vice versa. Few things really need to understand, that they are the come of operational part, that until unless you will not perform the things from by your own hands-on practice, this will create a confusion, and it will lead to maybe some wrong choice of question, as well as in the practically it may lead to not a good architect. Again, as I mentioned, the different kind of, so you really need to know few things on tips. What is the difference between EBS is the elastic block store, which is, you can say, the hard disk or SSD of our server. EFS is a file system, and FSX is something they released in 2018 reinvent, and it is something for the Windows specific file share, because EFS can't be mount or cannot be performant work with Windows Server, especially because Windows EFS is following the POSIX permission strategy. FSX, it can be integrate with your Active Directory, all those GPOs, all those policies. So FSX is specific for Windows Server. Keep remember, EFS is for Linux and FSX is for Windows. You will find lot of things here, and these are the things you really need to practice also. And EBS itself a big thing. It is not only one about hard disk, but it is covering the snapshot, AMIs or AMIs. Lot of things are there. So these three things need to be understand first of all very much clearly. Most of the question I found are revolving around here and there in some kind of scenarios. So understand these, and it will really help you to figure out the options as quickly as possible. Another is one part of EBS or kind of related to instance store. That is something, the physical hard disk which is attached to that physical box on which our virtualized virtual machine is residing. It is a temporary one, because a virtual machine can change the host in case of some kind of disaster happen or failure happen at a physical host level, or if we stop and start, the chances are it may move or it may start on some different physical host. So instance store is something a temporary, but it is giving most of the IOPS, because it is so quickly, even the range of 2 to 3 millions IOPS per second. But again, the use case you need to understand, it is for the temporary purpose, right? So try to understand, try to see that where the instance store will fit. And another important aspect I would like to cover here, which maybe previously only we considered at the professional level, you really need to know about the RAID, how the RAID working. RAID is just the disk striping to get some kind of maybe backup or some kind of more performance. There are multiple kind of RAID 0, 1, 5, 6, 10. So try to understand, these are the basic things. This is not very related to AWS, but this is very related to overall IT. So RAID and all those things will surely come into picture, and you really need to understand how it will get integrated in such kind of, whether the case of EBS or instance store, how it will fit best, and how you can get the more performance, and from which layer you can get, whether it's a temporary or the persistent one, and what are the key caveats or catch point there to configuring RAID. These things is testing in this exam at a very good level. Previous version or previous edition, I don't found such kind of tricks. I would like to say it's not a complex, but a tricks are clearly here in this exam. It's not that I don't want to put you in a panic situation that it is a tough exam or anything. But yeah, AWS really change and put focus that how realistically they can test, rather than only on the theoretical perspective. But if you really work or understand their services, this exam is like a charm, and good to go. But if it is a confusion that you don't know, you never perform the things, but you just watch some videos and you think that you want to sit for exam, Maybe you can pass, but I am trying to share the goal that passing an exam is no longer a good thing, or it's not a long term a good strategy, until unless you will not know how to leverage the value of certification and where it will fit best, and how doing a certification will benefit you, things will not work properly. So try to understand on all these things. And then S3, as it's a part of a storage service, it's object storage, and a very famous one you really need to know, S3 single availability zone edition, as well as their intelligent tiering, glacier, and the deep archival is also somewhere. So you need to understand in which scenario what will fit best. Just giving you a quick example for the glacier and deep glacier, few things. For glacier, for the deep glacier, instant retrieval is not there. For the deep glacier, it's only two, either the bulk one or some kind of a standard one, and it will take 12 hour to 48 hour. But in case of glacier, it may be in a few minutes, like time to first byte in a few minutes for the restoration purpose, as well as the standard one 4 to 6 hours, something somewhere like that, and the bulk retrieval will be 12 hours. So you need to understand even the glacier and deep glacier will fit in which kind of scenario. So question will try to confuse you, try to put you in some kind of scenario, but if you really well prepared, and especially let's say if you really gone through the console itself by yourself, you will be able to answer. Because let's say it's not that you need terabytes or petabytes of data to archive. Maybe a 10 MB file can be archived. Even whatever the video I am creating for my own YouTube channel or those small tutorial, I am putting everything on deep archival, like, because I maybe it may happen that it will get deleted from a local system, or maybe I need to re-update or something I need to create. So I am putting all my raw data, raw editable data, whatever the screen recording I am doing for my videos, I am putting in a deep archival, not even the glacier one, but glacier deep archive, because that is where, and it's something like few files are 100 MB, few are maybe 50 MB, but we can restore it. While restoring, you will figure out the option from your side. So that is a small practice point which you really need to know to really prepare for this exam in a good way. So let's continue. Yes, pricing questions were there. You really need to know the pricing, especially in the form of like spot fleet. If you understand about EC2 come with different flavor of reserve instance, spot instance, on-demand pricing. You will be seeing couple of question asking, again putting a trick. Even I got confused with the one question. So I believe this is the topic, not too many question, but whatever the question, this can be the good scoring and passing marks it can give you the pricing topic. But something, if one or two question are coming, and if you are not able to figure out the trick, it may lead to the wrong selection. So try to understand the pricing covering from a different. Even you really need to know now the difference pricing mechanism for dedicated host. That is a part which is not previously even talked and covered, but dedicated host, you really need to know how the things are working, whether reserve reserve pricing or reserve dedicated host will happen or not, or whether you can reserve spot instance or not, something. All those tricks, better you can go through their FAQ or try to do something. Even in the calculator you will be able to figure it out. Couple of things, if you know that how to use calculator, it's a very handy dandy small tool available freely. Just open AWS calculator, try to play, try to put some different kind of scenarios, and you will see your answer. So containers, yeah, I'm really happy to see this time in this exam containers are covered, because otherwise containers are always considered a very advanced topic, but it is now coming into the mainstream. So there are multiple flavor of container platform available on AWS. So in this exam, it is covered very well. Few question you will find easy to understand. Few things it will need your own thought process, because architecting any system is all about the thought process, that how you are going to achieve this. There are multiple ways to achieve a single thing. So that's where these kind of things come into picture, and it is getting tested. So containers consist of that elastic container service, as well as their newer serverless container service known as Fargate, and I believe I did some typos. I will publish this slide. I will change these typos and put it Fargate and EKS rather than the last one. Again, I mentioned that ECS. It's EKS, that Kubernetes service. You need to understand in which case like Kubernetes will fit best, or what is the key point for Kubernetes or EKS service than ECS. ECS is one of the oldest container service or managed container platform provided by AWS. Even before that, Kubernetes become a mainstream to managing or orchestrating container workload. ECS was there, and Fargate is something new, but it is not so new. It is covering also in this exam. So try to understand from that angle in which scenario what will fit best. And then coming to the little bit of networking, just I want to now highlight I will also publish a one link for my previous edition or previous version video, which I set 6 months or 5 months back. Only in December 2019, I published that video. So in which I would like to share about that V2 version. But here I found that rather than the V2, the networking part is not heavily focused. In the V2, networking was heavily focused, like Route 53, lot of VPC stuff was there. But in this exam, it is more, I found more into the storage and from again the architecting area, not the fact and figures area. So NAT gateway also come into picture, like how it will fit into your architecture and what is the purpose of NAT gateway. So you need to understand, again, EC2 is always a mainstream and a common service. You need to understand in and out of EC2, in which scenarios Windows workload work, whether Windows work on EC2 or not. Try to understand it is, but there are some caveats also with Windows workload there. So you really need to explore from that perspective. It's not only just spinning an instance in a 1 or 2 minute and SSH and then terminate. Maybe let's put some effort to understand all those steps, that how the instances are getting spin up and what are the key area which you really need to consider. Let's say some kind of startup script, in which scenarios the startup script and how efficiently startup script works. Again, with the Route 53, it is a fully managed DNS service provided by AWS. It cover again the internal or the private DNS as well as the public DNS. Even you can register your domain name directly on AWS using this service, Route 53. So you really understand what are the multiple things or multiple kind of records you can set up, and what kind of policies, like if you want to do some kind of a weighted policy, failover policy, multi-value policy, geolocation policy. These are the small things we really need to be covered. And again, it is not specific to AWS. It is a very generic IT stuff, but AWS is presenting in an easy way on their platform, and this exam is now testing all those things in the architect and realistic architect way. So just I want to share few thoughts. Plan to become an architect, don't to just pass the exam. Passing exam is not a big deal. Again, guys, it may happen easily, maybe a 1 month or 1 week study, on even for some people maybe a 1 day study is only required to just see that what are the topics they need to cover. The same even I have planned, because it's my day-to-day job. So I planned only a week back, and then I thought, okay, let's sit for this exam, because I want to see the difference, not that to pass, because my exams are valid for the another 2 3 years. So I have planned not to pass anything, because maybe that much I build a confidence that I can tackle this kind of thing. So I was sitting to see the difference and what new are tested, and really this exam is now up to mark and much higher, because most of the people, realistically, I am sharing a thought, people just watch some course and sat for the exam, but when actually time come to on practical work, most of people are not able to understand what they are supposed to do. So don't try remove that kind of mindset first of all from your from your thoughts, even that you really don't need to just pass the exam. You really need to become an architect if you're really interested, if you are passionate about architecting, designing a solution, because a design can be multiple aspects to achieve a one thing. So understand from that. And again, marks doesn't matter. We are not in a school and We are not running for grades here, right? So don't rush that you need to just target some passing marks and all those things. I am not fond of talking about a marks and all those things, because I never revealed like what score, I never published what score I got. But don't plan if you put, because I did such kind of thing back in 2017 for the pro level exam, that I planned that I need to pass with 70% or something, and I failed because after that I understand, because I planned like that. So my preparation was even not that time, or my experience was not at that time up to the mark. So don't run for the marks will not give you difference between, let's say, if a person got 750 mark or another person got 950 exam in the same exam, no, there is a no point, or no way that it will show that 950 get the person with 950 exam is a much or higher experience or intelligent than 750. That doesn't play here, that doesn't matter here, guys. It's all about how you understand and how you well understand and grab the requirement and design the solution. So that is where these exams or the professional exams are relying. It's not a college and academics. Don't put, because if you, even you are student, you really need to make your mindset in a different way, rather than thinking that this is an academic exam. Guys, this is not academic or school, and there is no race going on. First of all, another thing, practice. Without that, again, no value of the certification, no value of even if you got the perfect score, right? So practice is something that you really need to know. It is a very vast area and a vast subject. Many services are covering. I understand it's not easy to learn everything so quickly and easily, but you need to figure out what will be your key strength area and what are the areas in which you need to figure out, or you need to put efforts to learn. Resources are available. So it's, there is a no point to say that because of the resource is not there or the information is not there, I am not able to understand the concept or examples. Everything is there. That is where the communities and all those things come into picture. Without practice, there is a no point. I will not suggest to sit. If you just, you're targeted to pass the exam, sorry to say, guys, it will not give you anything. It will maybe devalue the things, rather than you will say that you will impress someone just by passing exam. It will not make any kind of sense, right? So to practice, maybe it may take, again, it may take 6 to 12 months also to start to, to understand the thought process. And then when you will get confidence that, okay, that you are now ready to appear for exam, then it is just a matter of a day or two. But that building a confidence step by step is the most important here. So try to do something, create a console. Again, free tier, we are going to talk about that. All these things are there. Even I am also doing that. I am not even spending a huge amount. It's maybe a few cents a month, only because I'm trying to cover everything in free tier. It is not that every time I need to build super duper production grade environment. Even from the small, these free tier services can be created to showcase, to understand the concept at that production grade, multi tier or multi container, and all those things are easily there. It's all about how you understand and what's the thought process and what are the uh, steps you are going to take. So console, build, destroy, so that you will be keep under your free tier. And most important now, that is why I put this in the very last. Not every solution is a cost effective. Don't get in a trap of that cloud is a from a day zero, cloud is a very cost effective or cheaper than any other solution. That is a big trap. Understand, until unless what is the requirement, cost will play a major role. I understand, that is my also day to day job. But it is not that every time cost is only a factor. There are multiple things which will derive the cloud journey. Even in the questions also, try to understand. It may happen with a trick that some solution or approach will be provided as a very cost effective, right? But try to then read the question, reread the question, reread the requirement. That is where the question trick is. Reread the requirement. Until unless, one suggestion, until unless it is not asked from the question, what will be the cost effective, or how you can minimize the cost. Until unless this cost word is not mentioned in the question, don't go for the solution where the cost effectiveness according to your thought process will be there. That will be the big trap in this exam. So keep remember this key point, and I'm closing my presentation. Let's go to some resources also, and then I would like to talk about the question answers or your doubts. First of all, yes, free tier is there, you can create. This is again a simple mathematics. Here I believe there is no technical things required. It's a purely mathematics stuff. If you know addition, subtraction, multiplication, these things, and division, especially, let's say you want to run two EC2 server for Linux server for few hours, or let's say you can just figure out like 750 hour and the capacity of 30 GB. 30 GB, like there the SSD or the EBS is there. So now just divide with, like, you want to run the two server, and which is having 15 GB, that will be covered under free tier, but your hours will be half of 750. It's just something, these kind of maths you need to do from your side if you want to stay in free tier. Most of these services are covered under free tier. You can play the RDS. Again, the Aurora flavor is not covered here. Databases also, okay, I just want to cover quickly, in it's not in presentation. The databases is also covered here. You need to understand in which scenario the DynamoDB fit, and what is the purpose of DynamoDB, because it's a key value document store also. So it's again serverless, and where the RDS come into picture. RDS is the relational database managed service, which is supporting multiple flavor or multiple engine of relational databases. So you really need to aware about what is the purpose of high availability and read replica. One is for performance, one is for high availability. That I am going to share the resources. Those resources are covering such kind of concepts very well, but this is again a very generic, because this read replica and master slave architecture, again not very specific to AWS, but a generic IT. This is the patterns, a proven patterns which are following since 2 3 4 decades, since all these things are going. So try to understand, utilize that area. Don't directly jump to learn about cloud. Just understand that why cloud, what is the history, and why we are leading, and why we are standing at this stage to talk and discuss with the cloud, and why cloud is booming so quickly nowadays. So until unless those answers are not clear, just watching some course tutorial and then talking that you want to just a certified, it will not work in a long term. This is purely I'm saying from my own experience, because I have done such kind of missing part in my career. So now I'm really very serious that what I want to do, and when will be the right time, and when my confidence will be really built to do that kind of things. So don't rush the things. It will take time, but once it will fit in your memory, in your muscles, in your hands, it will be much easy, and the journey will be much smoother, right? So first I would like to talk about this. A new course is there. Personally, again, I'm not, disclaimer is I'm not affiliated to anyone, I'm not getting paid for promoting anything, but it's my own personal suggestion, because I see I followed this guy from couple of years, and I watched his couple of courses available on A Cloud Guru, and he is one of the best instructor I have found. He recently released this course, and it is an independent one. You can just check learn.cantrill.io. His name is Adrian Cantrill. He's very active on LinkedIn. He prepared a course. I watched his course on A Cloud Guru back in 2017, and I found the way he is teaching. And now here I am seeing the course curriculum, and really few things are free of cost to preview. You just check, watch, sign up, and you can see couple of videos, and you will get an idea how good he is teaching. Again, I am not getting anything from suggesting this, but I found the content which he covered, it's not only about exam, but lot of things for the long term. So try to understand, it may be lengthy, but you really need to put effort, and you really need to perform lot of demos. See, even for the RDS category, this is a many things he this guy is covering. So you can go through that. It's a not a huge investment. It's a one-time investment. It is mentioned that $40. Maybe I will also going to buy, even to just relearn the things. It is not that everything I also know, but it may happen that something new will get come out from this course after watching, after refreshing my concepts. So you can bookmark this learn.kentrill.io, and you will find this course. Go through that. But if you have already a Cloud Guru subscription, or they have published their courses on Udemy, but I believe their Udemy one maybe not every time updated, but here, because that as this exam got updated, they have put this thing. I personally use a Cloud Guru in my career, as well as Linux Academy, because if you go to Linux Academy, they also have the course name, this course, but it is taught by again Adrian Cantrell. So better, I suggest directly go to his latest course. So this will be much more valuable. And this A Cloud Guru is also very famous in the world of AWS. If you want, you can continue, and there are again endless things. There are not these one or two or three guys, but maybe I can tell you hundreds of people are teaching that. Even I am also planning to start online classes to teach about AWS, and especially targeting the AWS Solution Architect pattern or the syllabus. So my one tip is that stick with one resource. Don't try to learn both. I know that people will come, they will see, hey, this playlist is little bit smaller, this is a larger, but the agenda is to learn and to practice. Whether you will take maybe 20-hour course or 40-hour course, it will only cover 50% of your learning. But it is something that you really need to know from your own practice and thought process. No course will cover 100%, and don't try to put some kind of thing that you need to figure out some kind of cheating material. I would like to talk on that, because from last couple of days I'm seeing a lot of things are going here and there, and people are reaching me and asking me something a very foolish, I can say directly, that they want tried and tested dumps to do whatever the certification, so that they can get job quickly. Guys, I am totally against all these nasty stuff. Please don't ask me. I am not in that favor. Even truly, let me tell you, I am even not in the favor of practice exams. Those are also, I believe, not a good way to learn and to appear for exam. Right? Until unless you will not create a curiosity and surprises in the life, things will not work. So you can follow these two courses, and again, until unless you will not open this account and you will never feel the things, maybe I will clearly say things will not work for the long term, and the strategy will not be the good one. So let me cover a couple of final thoughts around that, and we will go to the question. So don't put yourself in the trap of that you want to learn quickly and to appear and pass the exam. Nothing gonna happen. There are million people certified, but it's not that everyone is getting a super duper jobs, right? Because that is the problem here. Everyone want to certify it, but they don't want to put effort. They want just someone will give you some tips. I am under NDA. I am not supposed to share any question, even if I remember or not. But what I'm trying to say, it's all about a practice, because exam is just a bare minimum entry point. It is nothing to do that it will give you a title that you become a super architect. Yes, that will come with your own experience, your own learning, your own efforts. These exams will give you a target so that you can force or push yourself to learn. Because if you, until unless you will not put a target, things will not fly. I started following the same thing from December. Let's put the target date first. Whether, because see, there is a privilege of reschedule, right? It's only once I use that feature to reschedule my exam, because I was also not comfortable to appear for that exam, because I feel I'm not prepared enough, and a lot of things are missing, which where I need to put focus. And then I schedule for next 2 weeks, and for those 2 weeks I put efforts to learn those missing points in my learning, right? But until unless you will not put the target date, things will not clear. It will be always open item, and you will say, hey, okay, next year I will do, or after 6 months I will do. If you're really worried, if you're really serious, put target date, start with that, things will be there. And if you are experienced, maybe for you it may happen this exam is easy or maybe not required. It's okay. Not there is a no necessity to do each and every exam. But if you are if you want, if you are love to learn, and some people are not fond of certification, some people are. I'm one of that. I fond of, because I found myself, until unless that there is no target that I am not able to learn something, so I try to push my bar some in that way. It's not that my target is not to achieve many certification and all those things, but at least to target to learn that okay, what are the difference. Once you learn a one thing really deeply, it will be easy to replicate to the other platform. That is what I applied in my learning. I learned one platform, worked on that, and then the other platform more or less now at a same layer, and I'm able to segregate and perform on those kind of other platforms easily. From that angle, try to understand. And if you're a student, especially first and second year, don't go for exam. There is no value. It's up to you. If you really feel confidence, if you are working on AWS, because there is no bar that you can't appear. It is just maybe from the professionally perspective, it will not give or add any value, especially if you're a first year or second year, even a third year. I want to consider. Don't go as quickly or instantly. Wait. If you're really working, make your core more and more stronger. The more your foundation is stronger, go maybe the deeper part. Go to, let's say, understand about the virtualization, and even more about why the virtualization come into picture, rather than thinking that okay, you understand this is a EC2 and you need to suddenly jump into some data warehouse and machine learning thing. It's your interest, you can go from top to bottom, but my suggestion is don't go if you want some serious kind of, or looking for some serious career opportunity, right? So these are the few thoughts I would like to share, and I'm going to cover now questions. And if any thought you want to share, please drop in the comment section. I will try to cover that. So let's start it with some questions here. Let me see. How to prepare exams. So Kushal, I showed that maybe if you don't want a training, you are not fond of a training first, okay, maybe some kind of documentation or whatever your experience, try to see that if that you can replicate and you can imagine that this here how this will work. Important thing is the architecture center, again free of cost. All those AWS documentation is very beautifully written and driven, that step by step things. Just open, search for that, go through, try to understand. Let's say a simple, some kind of 3 tier architecture, whether you are performing in your own premises or whatever the other cloud or whatever your experience, or even if you are a developer, you want to understand from that area, things are there. Just open. At least you need to put effort to open. There is no one magic will happen that you watch some course and things will happen. Try to understand. It's all about the effort. The result is the outcome of the efforts which we put, right? So I showed the courses are there. Courses will cover 50% only. Is there any problem if I am certified V2 in March? Would it affect that I am not certified? No, it's not, because see, the certification comes with the again the validity of 3 years. What I am trying to say is V3 is covering more and more, because let's say lot of things happen. Let's say even in the learning, we are not covering everything. We, or sometimes the situation come into picture, we are not playing with each and every service. But if we put a target date that okay, we have experience. Let's say you put yourself in the same situation 3 months back, you have experience, you build your confidence, and you want to appear for certification. At that time V3 was in beta, and you are not planning for the beta exam, but the available one is a B2. Yeah, so V2. And then you thought okay, now I have a confidence, maybe I need something or some training to brush up, or sharpen my skill and sit. Maybe I'm pretty sure you have learned lot of things from the training also, as well as from your experience also, right? It's not so. What V3 is covering, the more and more newer service. In the previous exam, containers are not covered, right? Even the storage, as I mentioned, storage is covered in a deep way, like RAID, simple, right? Maybe RAID, I don't think that in the V2 have you found any such kind of scenarios there. I think because I also appeared in December, right? Even with the Route 53, and those exam VPC part I found covered in a bigger way, but in this the newer services, especially the container part, if you really don't know how the ECS work, because see, the questions are not like, the straightforward. These even that easy question which I put 30 to 35 bar, it is not a straightforward that you need to just pick a service like, let's say, what is the object storage? S3. It's not a kids, it's not a kids exam, guys. It is something really testing from the architect design thought process. So there is no problem. It's all about the experience, and good luck, you can explore more and more. But what I would like to share this, just try to figure out or make your mind map something, that what is the difference between V2 V3. You don't need to appear for the certification, but maybe try to cover that services or to learn. If you already experienced, good to go, but maybe learning need to be always continuous. AWS free tier without credit card. If you are in India, Indian debit cards are easily accepted. I am trying. I am using my debit card also only. Or I have around 18 AWS account with me, right, from last 6 7 years, and all are working with the debit card. Yeah, previously I believe in back in 2014 15, that was a time that debit card was not acceptable. But now I don't find any concern. Like debit cards are working like a charm. Maybe if that is a concern, you can reach out to bank. Because maybe I'm not the bank guy to answer that. Maybe there is some caveat of some kind of, if card restriction is there, you can talk with the bank. So resources, Omkar, I showed that, and Adrian Cantrell course is there. Just search or follow him on LinkedIn. You will find he's posting all those things on a daily basis, and the content and the playlist I found damn good. I followed him from couple of years. I watched his couple of courses, and he's really awesome teacher. A Cloud Guru is a very good provider. There are multiple other, but stick with one, right? Training will give you 50%. 50% is your own effort, maybe your learning experience. Practice, another part is practice. If you don't practice, if you say that you will watch a course today, tomorrow you will sit for exam, okay, surely you will pass, I can even tell you. But long term, maybe after 10 days you will forget about all those things. I can again tell you from my own experience, you will forget, and you will be not able to cope up the thing that what you are actually supposed to perform than just passing the exam, right? Practice test, I believe AWS sample question is enough. I am bit on the other side even from the practice test. Let's the exam be a surprise. If you really learn, if you really know the things, the exam will, you will be able to understand the scenario. But if you are looking that you want some kind of 500 question for practice, and then you will appear for 65 question of exam, and you are targeting that perfect score, sorry guys, that will not happen, and that will not a good strategy. I'm strictly against nowadays, because I'm personally getting enough messages asking this shitty stuff about dumps and all those things, right? So drop those, because those kind of things are dropping the value of certification. It really took effort, time, money, as well as lot of other things from a person's life, and these kind of nasty stuff is dropping the value. Let's, create a momentum to gain, to regain the value of a certification, right? It is not a cup of tea, truly guys. I'm saying it's not a cup of tea. If there is a cup of tea, those people get caught easily on the real world. The practical scenario will come into picture, and I personally see, I took multiple interviews to ask, maybe in a 3 to 4 questions, it's easy to even not to ask that too technical. It's easy to judge that a person read these one course, and for surely within, after watching that course, in the span of 3 to 5 days, that person appear for exam and pass the exam, and looking for a job and expecting some super duper job. So keep aware with these all things. Okay, I believe I go with CO2. Roshan, go for CO2. There is no point CO1, because try to, because you are going to start preparing. So if you are going to put effort from today, target for the long term. CO1 is obviously going to vanish from their catalog. You can appear, but try to understand, you need to learn the newer technology, because the architecture designs are changed. Let's say a WordPress deployment will happen maybe with S3, CloudFront, RDS, and all those things. But now EFS come into picture. You can put a shared storage. Even you don't need to offload your this thing to S3 without even change of code. right? Because for S3, even for let's say WordPress, the plugin is there. Without even installing a plugin, if you put something in a shared one, and that EFS come with a multiple tier of like burst table performance or general purpose as well as max burst input IO, you can understand the scenario how the patterns are changing. And the same, let's say I'm telling you that the same WordPress thing you want to run in a Fargate, that is a big opportunity to learn, guys. So try to focus on that. Exam will come and go, but the learning will remain always if you really focus and learn, right? Karan, Hemchandran Karan, COT, but patterns are different from previous one. Yes, I mentioned that. What is the different pattern? I mentioned I will publish this presentation as well as maybe you can rewatch. I covered that. What are the major things, changes you will see from the previous one? The previous edition, the video link I will post in the description. Feel free to watch that first, and then the newer one, this session, rewatch that. You will get an idea from my, it's again my own experience and journey. I have not remember or make notes after sitting for exam, but whatever I found, because I read the question, I try to understand the requirement, and it's my own gut feel that these are the things I found easily, which is differentiating from V2 and V3. I will share, Kiran. So after the stream will be over, I will update the description, and you can bookmark meanwhile this link. And a big thank you. This really motivates me also. Okay, Omkar is asking, sir, as a student and focusing for position for backend developer, how should I prepare and which exam should I appear for? Again, depend what kind of backend. Maybe if you don't want to put cloud as a primary, don't go for that. There are other certification maybe I'm not aware of. There are a lot of things I believe for Node.js, and all this thing is also nowadays a certification. And if you're talking about the backend position, purely database side, Oracle and Microsoft is having a database specific exams. But I believe you need to put the cloud as a wrapper of your whole learning, and things will be clear. Again, certification will not give you the quick value until unless you will really don't know that what you actually supposed to do, right? And as you mentioned, as a student, I will not recommend to go for any certification until unless you are pretty sure and you have worked or you have built something for as a hobby, something project, or you contributed in some community as a project contribution, or you have showed to the world. There is a no point to go for certification until unless you will not sure and you will not aware that how you are going to leverage that is the most important. Okay, Kiran is asking that one question I have seen understanding concept. It is important to practicing question. Kindly suggest about source to practice. As I mentioned, that go and buy any practice exams, all those things. I am not in the favor. Just do their practice is something that for me you just want to see that how the exam pattern is. Let's say a single answer question, a multi answer question, or what kind of trick you can expect. That is where official AWS is giving you the sample question. I believe 10 question, even I check that 10 question is more than enough. Don't put yourself in that trap of that you need to have 500 practice question, then only you will be able to answer or prepare anything. 10 question is more than sufficient. Maybe without watching that answers are given also on the last page. Just go through each question and pick your options and then match your answer. You will get your understanding that from your conceptual knowledge and from these sample official AWS question where you are standing and which area you need to put the efforts, right? So there is a no source, and don't look for such kind of thing, guys. Yes, Shekhar, we can give exam from home. AWS started, I believe, maybe 3 to 4 weeks back. They announced that. I also take it from the same my house, my table, right? And make sure that you register and you pick a right slot when the internet connectivity will be good, as well as the peace on your surrounding, because it may happen that someone come in your room and you will revoke. There is no forfeiting, no refund, nothing, and you just consider that exam wastage and that money wastage. Make sure that room and the environment will be sufficient to satisfy the need. It need to be, you need to sit alone, you need to showcase, and camera need to be a good, because I found with their software, let's say even this camera, right, the quality is little bit down on the downside. So make sure the good lighting and camera need to be there. And before even registering, you can run something known as a pre-test, or some test is there from which they are taking the actual exam. So just download that 60 or 65 MB executable file is there. Just run and test your system whether it is working or not. Vedant is asking how to learn the best practice that are followed on AWS. Again, that is where a different use case in that scenario. There is no, one thing fit for all. But just give me a second, guys. Not one thing fit for all thing. Put your one thought process, as I mentioned, to achieve one thing. There can be a multiple way, right? Put your thought process, whatever you are trying to learn, and then see the use cases, see the architecture center, see the case studies. Case studies are written very well. Another thing, maybe you can quickly see, this is my architecture series, a 5 to 10 minutes video where along with the one AWS guy, from customer side or their user side, someone come and explain how they are building their application on AWS, what are their design pattern, and what are their pitfalls, and how they overcome all those things. So that is where the practice part. See, practice is something every day. The things are getting changed. As I mentioned, that you can install WordPress in a single VM also. You can install WordPress in a multi-tier also. You can install WordPress in a Fargate or serverless, or even containers, or even a large-scale Kubernetes cluster also. You can run a container. Maybe I have not tried purely serverless, some kind of a different pattern. So that is where come into picture. Once you first put that you what you want to do, then do some proper R&D, because most of the resources are there. It's our, you can say, not a good strategy that how we will do the search part, because we are relying that if everything full cooked and proper with spoon food thing will be served, then only we will learn. Stop that kind of thing. Put some effort. Open the console, open the documentation, open your favorite search engine. Try to do, put some effort. It may take a day, it may take a 10 day, but at least you will get more idea, and more your thought process will be more improved. I have a okay. Saikat Mukherjee is asking, I have a good knowledge and working experience on Oracle Cloud from a developer perspective. How steep learning curve would it be for me to learn AWS? See, that's a very good question, and I appreciate Saikat. So something, see, your development environment is same. You are just embedding or integrating the cloud services. Let's say in your case, you are talking about the Oracle Cloud. So you are using Oracle Cloud, and because everything is exposed via API and everything is software defined, you are integrating through the SDK. Just now, you need to first make your mindset. Let's say whatever the application on which you are working and developing, right? How that will, or what kind of cloud components you are utilizing, and what is their alternate on AWS, right? If that is there, you will be maybe then the fact and figures come into picture, whether some improvement or performance implications are there, because SDKs are available. Let's say you are developing in Java, so Java is something, the global standard. Each and every cloud provider, whenever I found that is de facto, that the Java SDK is there, right? So you just need to go through that, how the design pattern or how the integration or whatever the method from the programming angle will come into picture, and all this learning curve come into picture. Yes, again, if you see the broader picture, that what kind of services you want to use. Now let's say let's think about a cloud native architectures, right? There's something known as cloud development kit come into picture. You need to really know and explore from your side, and then maybe differentiate that whatever you have learned, how you are going to leverage that experience, and what the new things where you need to put effort to make your learning more steep and more quickly, which will help according to your requirement. And if you really need to put longer time, put some target date and do step by step. Resources are available. I believe that's all from my side, guys. And stay in touch. Please share this video in your circle. I will post my previous video link in the description also, and PPT will be shared. And stay safe, guys, and keep learning. There is a no shortcut. It's all about think about a long-term vision, because if you start putting a one thing now, how for the long term, how it will help you. So keep always such kind of thing in mind. There is no shortcut, right? Take care, guys.